So a lot of your strategies of invisible selling comes from the book Thinking Fast, Slow.
Some of them, yeah.
Some of them by the author Daniel Kahneman. So what is it that he talks about, and how has that influenced your thinking?
There are plenty of brilliant people like Daniel Kahneman, Nobel laureates, researchers on the psychology of influence and behavioral economics, Richard Thaler, Amos Tversky, Bob Cialdini, Noah Goldstein, Steve Martin, Thelma Lobel, Dan Ariely. The only thing is they are very intelligent people and they believe in disseminating information. They're not very structured in the way they disseminate information. It's like, this is the information we have and here it is. It's very exciting. Whereas in invisible selling, I have to look at all these various strategies available, make it fun and simple, and talk to a very specific market. And that market is of people who want to use this to influence other people to get what they want to get. And I like to use business examples as much as possible because most of them are quantitative. And most of these strategies have resulted in increase in profits and increase in turnover of various companies. So it's much more quantitative than something else. Like somebody could say, oh, I've used this strategy and I'm much happier or I'm much healthier. Now, measuring happiness and health is much more difficult than it is to measure the financial health of a company. So that's my specialization. I'm looking at these very difficult to understand strategies, simplifying it and putting it in a business context. And one of the most powerful strategies that Daniel Kahneman has spoken about, at the same time he's not given too much of a business context to it, is the availability heuristic.
Okay.
So plenty of people don't really understand the true value of advertising. They think plenty of companies are wasting money by advertising. They think it's excessive. They think, why do companies advertise when their product's already known? Why would you want to create awareness about a product that already exists for several years or decades? Well, the point is that most advertisements are not trying to create awareness. They're trying to reinforce a position that they already have in the minds of people. They're trying to ensure that they are on top of people's minds when people are taking a decision to buy a product in their category. It's very critical that a person should be thinking of you at the time of the purchase decision. You might be the best brand in the category, you might have the best product. At the same time, it's not necessary that he's thinking about you at the time that he's making the purchase. He's most likely thinking about a brand that's made the maximum noise, or has made some different kind of noise, or that brand that's done something to ensure that he thinks about that brand at the time of purchase. So these two are totally different things. Having the best product and having a product that's top of the mind are not necessarily the same thing. In plenty of cases, they're not the same thing at all. And to give you an idea of how powerful the availability heuristic is, there's a fantastic example by researchers. So which has the higher number? Okay. Do words that start with K outnumber the words that have K in the third place?
If I have to think instinctively, then I would say the words that start with the letter K would be more than words that have K in between.
Right. So maybe you want to pause this video and try to answer this in less than 10 seconds and write it down. In which case are there higher quantity of words? Words that start with K or words that have K in the third place? Okay, I'm presuming you've come back after the pause. It's very good to answer these quizzes because you'll really learn very well. If you're just going to take in this video and not do anything about it and not participate in the exercises, then you will learn considerably lesser. So I'm presuming you've done that. Most people in the world will say that there are more words beginning with K then there are words which have K in the third place. At the same time, that answer is totally wrong. There are more words which have K in the third place.
Third place.
Yes. But it's much more difficult to think of words which have K in the third place than it is to think of words which
first 5-6
start with
words
K.
that came to my mind have K probably in the end, or fourth, or fifth, or third.
Yeah,
No.
it's difficult to think that way because that's not the way we normally think. We have dictionaries where we have words beginning with A and words beginning with B and words beginning with C. But you don't have a dictionary that says this is words beginning with A, this is words beginning with A in the second place, this is words with A in the third place, and so on. And hence we are less familiar. Those words are less available to the human brain when we are trying to recollect them. And that's what the availability heuristic is all about. So I'm sure Ekta Kapoor will be very disappointed to know that there are less words beginning with K and then there are words with K in the third place. That's just one huge, very, very powerful example of how the availability heuristic makes us error prone. Now you might think, oh, how does that relate to business? So let me talk about another example which is more related to business and more related to real life, and that is terrorism. Again, if you can participate, that would be ideal. Since 9/11, which happened in 2001, just guess what's the number of people that have died through terrorist attacks every year. Please pause the video, take a 10-second break and write it down and come back. Just take a guess.
10,000.
10,000, okay. And guess what is the number of people who have been killed because of air pollution every year since the 9/11 attacks?
40,000.
40,000. So your guesses were 10,000 and 40,000. The real numbers are, the terrorist attacks, you were uncannily close. It's 25,000. So I hope FBI and CIA is watching this. And the number of people every year that die because of air pollution, you said 40,000. It's 7 million.
What?
7 million per year is the estimated number of people who die because of air pollution. I got these figures from a book that we're going to talk about more in one of the upcoming videos. That is Yuval Harari's book, 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. Now let's go back to this example. You thought of 10,000 people dying of terrorism every year since 9/11. I think plenty of people would estimate a higher figure. So probably because you've been involved in the videos, your IQ is much higher than average.
I just read the book recently.
So and you read books, so that's something that very few people in the world do. Many people buy books, but they don't read them. If they read them, they don't remember them. If they remember them, they don't apply their minds on it. So there are plenty of reasons why plenty of people do not learn from books. But plenty of people, I'm sure, would think the number could be 1 lakh or in the millions in terms of people who die by terrorism every year. And the second one, I'm sure plenty of people will be getting even more off the mark. It's 7 million.
This is like really unbelievable.
Absolutely. So why do more people overestimate the figure for terrorism and why do they underestimate the figure for air pollution? It's because
The fear that is being...
the press attacks the emotional center of your brain, the amygdala, the emotional center of the brain, the fear center of your brain, and that sells more news. Right? When you see something negative, when you see people dying, when you see a photograph that shows the hand of a person somewhere and a leg of a person somewhere and a lot of bloodshed, it affects you very deeply. It stays longer in your memory and it makes you stressed out. So you think that more number of people are dying and you think that more number of terrorist acts are taking place than they're actually taking place. There is no great amount of TRPs to be gathered by showing a person lying in a hospital bed, having
some illness due to air pollution.
I have asthma, and we use we use certain term. It'll come back to me, but yeah, you get those inhalers, the sophisticated form of those inhalers, and I've gone to a hospital nebulizer. Yes. So if there's a guy in a hospital with a nebulizer and we're saying, oh, this guy just died yesterday because of asthma, which was triggered by air pollution, the journalist, if he puts that on the front page, he'll probably lose his job. Whereas if there's a terrorist attack and the journalist doesn't put that on the front page, he'll probably lose his job. So that's the media, and you can blame the media all you want, but that's a system. And unless everybody works to break the system, it's not going to break. We just can't blame the media for it. But the point is that that's the way the availability heuristic works. So that's the reason why the smartest companies in the world, no matter how big their brands are, no matter how settled they already are in people's minds, no matter how profitable, no matter how great their profits even right now are, they're still very, very focused on being in people's minds, whether it be mainstream advertising, whether it's social media, whether it's any other way of being on people's minds again and again and again, is because they understand this concept of availability heuristic. And that's why social media has to be taken very seriously. Plenty of people put all kinds of stupid stuff on social media, like I'm having a vada pav at Andheri flyover or something stupid of that sort. They really should understand that this is for the first time in history that you are able to do something about this strategy at a low cost on social media, which you couldn't do when social media did not exist and the internet did not exist. So I'm sure some of you would have grasped that this is a very, very critical strategy of invisible selling, and you're going to take your social media strategy much more seriously now.
Because it's available to you.
Absolutely.